Hi, my name's Andrew. I'd ask you why you're here, but I already know the answer to that. You're here for a story, right? Yeah, that's it. Well, I've got just a story for you. I'm going to tell you how I figured out what's my dream job, if you will. Which, my dream job is to become a video game scriptwriter. For a while, I wanted to end up actually being the person to draw anime and manga and create the stories for them. Unfortunately, I found out that they don't hire anime and manga artists in America, only in Japan. So that kind of killed that dream right there for the most part.
So at that time I was like, well, there's no point in becoming an anime and manga artist. What else do I like? Video games. See, I've always liked video games. I was looking at 3 colleges in particular: Baylor, SMU, and A&M. I noticed all 3 of them had good programs for video game design. And I was like, alright, that works. My first semester, my first year at Baylor, I had some programming classes, which it was a little different than what I expected. I had no idea how video games were made. I didn't know there were a bunch of coding and ones and zeros that make the stuff you see on the screen. I had no idea about that. But what's most important about first semester is that I had my first film class that I've ever taken. It was called Sight, Sound, and Motion. That class was a very fun class. I learned a lot in it, and it kind of started getting me thinking, well, this is kind of what film's like, maybe I could do that. Maybe I'd enjoy doing that. But for the time I was like, well, I'm doing alright with comp sci. I guess I'll stick with it.
And then comes second semester of my first year at Baylor. Alright, well, programming got extremely difficult, and I started to realize that if I did become a video game designer with programming, what would happen is I'd be the person to design, the physics in video games or the graphics in video games, which that's never really what I wanted to do with video games. What had always interested me in video games is the story of it, the character design, the dialogue, and of course the action and set pieces, which you wouldn't be able to do all that much if you were a programmer. So during second semester, I realized that comp sci just wasn't for me. Computer science was not my thing. So over the summer, I switched and became a film and digital media major.
Sophomore year, first semester, I took 2 classes in particular that really made an impact on me wanting to become a video game scriptwriter. The first was Production Methods 1. In this class, the first part of the class was all editing, for making trailers for movies, for example. And at this time I realized editing's just really fun.
But then, entrepreneurship class. Well, the teacher of it is a woman named Mrs. Mary Abram. And one of the assignments we had to do was called a personal plan. What we had to do in it was basically describe what kind of job do we want to go after graduating, you do in that job, and what are you going to do to get there?
What happened was, I kind of knew, well, I want to make the plot and the characters and all that for video games, but I didn't know what exactly it was called, or if there technically was or wasn't a job for that. So I had to look it up, and yes, that is what a video game scriptwriter does.
So right now I'm currently in my second semester of my sophomore year. I'm taking a screenwriting class, and what makes up the majority of the grade is we have to turn in the first act, assuming there are 3 acts, of their own original script by the end of the semester. I decided to write a story. It would be kind of an action, horror kind of movie called Outbreak. I'm really enjoying it. Right now, screenwriting is my favorite class. So yeah, that's kind of it.